going to be doing a Disney villain tier list as the main course. Rishi will be joining us tonight as well. And of course, the chat, you all can provide your own opinions, even though they probably will be wrong. Yeah, I went there. By the way, this tier list was curated by Ryan Walterson, so I created a channel on YouTube that's going to be a bit of a dumping ground for the VODs here on Twitch. And they'll be refined to have new editing, kind of cleaned up. But yeah, that's the channel. Just, if you want to go subscribe to it, you can any second now. Hello.
Oh, hello.
So just so folks know, this entire list, it includes all Disney villains. Ryan Walterson went out of his way to go through TV shows and movies alike to build this list of villains, and it's quite substantial.
So I'd like to know, how are we defining these ranks?
Okay, so I'd say we should, because there's villain, like who's the most downright evil, and then there's villain as in who's the best villain as in like just for fun.
My thought would be like a good villain is both a good character and a good villain. Okay. I mean, I think a villain can be fun, and that's great, but I feel like an S tier villain is also like a really good character and makes complete perfect sense in the story that they're in against the good guy, the antagonist, that it was in their story.
So this isn't necessarily about how evil they are, but how good of a antagonist villain they are.
Yeah, because if we're judging them on just how evil they are, then I think that changes a lot of what I would personally say.
Like, how can Monstro he's a whale. He's not going to know what evil is. He's just a whale. I think there's some nuance to this. I think you and I are on the same page. I'm sorry, but I'm looking at the Davy Jones squid face, and it's just that one emoji where it's like, with the little raised eyebrow. Let's get things going. Okay, so number one. Yeah. And by the way, ranks, S being the best, A is, pretty damn fucking good. B is, it's not bad. C is meh. D is no. We'll do one more row below where it's like, you fucking
What's the
suck.
Row that's just like, we just don't know who they are?
IDK.
Okay.
All right, first we've got Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean. The pirate code is the code for pirates.
I'd say antagonist. I won't say villain. I think he's pretty good as an antagonist.
Me too. He's fun.
I wouldn't say he's like the most memorable villain I've ever heard of, but I'd say he's like above average because I think he's a pretty complicated character. So I'd say B.
B. And by the way, folks, there's some there'll probably be some changes as this list goes along, as most of these lists change,
Yeah.
The Beagle Boys from DuckTales, which there's also the sequel series, or the reboot, which the Beagle Boys are much more interesting, but I feel like they're just kind of like, there's nothing particularly interesting about them.
Yeah, nothing special, really. I'd say Deer. I'd say there's nothing particularly memorable.
So say, there's nothing to damage them, just kind of benign.
I think C is too generous. C is just kind of like meets expectations,
I'm going to keep mine at C because they're kind of boring.
I'd say D because like I couldn't tell you who any of those characters are. I do remember them in the Three Musketeers movie and enjoying it and thinking that they were funny, but they were just kind of more like bumbling buffoons.
Right. That's
Pete was the villain in that movie. They were just kind of like the buffoons who were working for him.
Mayor Bellwether from Zootopia. I thought she was just, I'll be real, I felt like even though she's like a twist villain, and she's a decent character, and she's cute, but I just feel like she's like, Judy and Nick were my focus. That's all I cared about, really.
Yeah, she was underwhelming. I'd say, I kind of agree with you, or C, where it's like, she was serviceable, I suppose, but nothing particularly special.
The Big Bad Wolf. Just D, just kind of a filler, like filler, but just kind of like,
Not straight up awful because everyone can identify the Big Bad Wolf as like the bad guy, which is, I'm personally very tired of that because I am a strong advocate for wolves.
Okay, this is S tier, no doubt.
I agree, S tier.
I think he's as S
Fantastic.
tier as you can really get as far as what we're trying to like. Okay, he's excellent character, and he's also like pure evil, but he's also a trickster. I think he's got a code in a way, even though he breaks it a lot. But he
Yeah.
he has rules. He seems to he wants to get a rise out of people.
Yes, and you always enjoy when he's on screen.
Oh, he commands the screen.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, Bill Cipher, fantastic villain.
All right, bowler hat guy, Goob, whatever, from Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah, I skipped ahead and that's what I saw. I never saw Meet the Robinsons, so I don't really know. I've
Really?
heard because it just looked kind of ugly to me and I just didn't really care. I've I've listened to people's takes on it and they say, "Oh, it's a fantastic movie and the villain is actually wonderful and it's got a great twist at the end." So I just don't know because I don't have a personal opinion.
I think
So
it's
that's up to you.
for the movie itself. I think Goob is pretty funny, though. Meet the Robinsons is like it's got moments that are pretty fun with great loving characters, and it's a very wholesome film. But I don't think it's particularly brilliant because the entire twist. I'm like, I saw this like before the first act was over. I'm like, okay, I figured this out. And ever since that, this kind of lost me because it was just kind of antics from that point on. So Meet the Robinsons is, I want to say it's a mid movie.
Well,
um,
how about the villain and the role that he plays in the movie?
I say B tier.
B. All right.
People, there's some folks who are like, I love him, he's hilarious. And I'm like, okay, like he's funny, and he's a good twist on villains with how incompetent he is. He's a bad villain, and don't let it go. He's got some pretty fun lines, but I just thought as a character, I'm like, yeah, he's still kind of just he's all right. Nothing wrong with sharing a bracket with Barbosa.
Yeah.
This next one is Briar
The,
Fox and Briar Bear.
the Baron Fox from Song of the South.
Yeah, just kind of like
D or F because there's nothing special, nothing memorable I could say about these characters.
I have Song of the South on VHS that was given to me, and it's in Japanese.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess I wouldn't say there's anything like particularly insulting to me, like, oh, these guys are villains and it's so bad that it's like insulting. So I'm just gonna say D, like just and I'm talking about like excluding, what Song of the South is about. I'm just talking about the shorts, like the animated
yeah, yeah,
segments
yeah.
with
If
these
we're talking,
characters.
okay, about to say context wise, when it's just animated characters, it's kind of divorced from the short. But as far as them as characters stripped away from everything else in the entire movie, it's just the scenes with them getting into trouble or getting duped. Because I know they're also like in they were in Splash Mountain as well. But it's just kind of like
Yeah,
I just
I
kind of
do remember that.
I chalk it back to nothing really inspired. Just kind of like we're the bad guys. Yeah, that's it. So next we have I don't know this guy very well. I know
Who
he's
the hell
from
is this character?
Bushroot. I don't know.
Um, I just don't know. It's been a hot minute since I watched Darkwing Duck. I only really remember Darkwing himself, DW, and the pilot and his niece, daughter,
Uh,
Penny. No, no, no,
Gosling. I think
Penny.
he's just a friend, or is he a niece?
The little girl. I
Maybe
mean, they
his
live
niece.
together, right? So they're probably family, right? Otherwise, it might be kind of weird.
I think it's his niece.
Yeah, IDK.
Captain Hook is A tier.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say A tier. Definitely not S tier, but very, very good classic Disney villain.
Dude, he's. I'll be real. I think Peter Pan's boring. Captain Hook steals a show. Him and Tinkerbell.
He,
There was for the record, there's a Peter Pan cartoon show with Tim Curry as the voice of Hook, and he's so badass in that. Genuinely, like a complete. He's a complete Chad compared to this sniveling punk of Captain Hook.
yeah. And I will say, yeah. Sweet.
No, well,
Hook is just like a really good. This is part of my criteria where I think he's just a really good character. Maybe he's not the most complex character in the world, but you feel for him. I mean, Peter Pan, fucked with him. He fucking chopped his hand off and fed it to the crocodile, and Peter Pan's
he's an
he's a
asshole.
little turd. I mean, I kind of love it, but he's a little shit.
Yzma is S tier.
I was gonna say A tier, but I can go with
Well,
S tier.
Upper A tier.
I will say
Hmm.
I would rather watch Yzma on screen than Hook. So I can
Yes.
agree to like S tier. I think.
I'm actually.
I'd say A tier. I would say A, like, yeah, high A tier. I don't know if I'd say she's S tier, but yeah,
No,
high A sounds good to me.
I'm moving Hook down to top B. No, yeah,
I
I think
think
so.
B is fine for Hook too, honestly, because he's not that complicated a character, but he is very fun to watch, and you understand why he's the antagonist.
Right. Yzma's great. I think she's fantastic, but she's like top A. S has to be like exceptionally good.
Yes.
So
I think she's a very good foil to Cusco.
right.
We have Zurg from Toy Story 2 and then Zurg from the TV show. From the Buzz Lightyear TV show is what I'm seeing.
I'd say this guy goes into D tier. It's just kind of like a joke.
Yeah.
A one-off joke.
It's kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah, but that's not enough.
Yeah. I think D tier. D tier is, to me, is kind of just like forgettable, nothing special.
Right. And I feel like we're kind of hitting that so far. Because Zurg from the cartoon show, which I watched the show, I'd say is lower, if not mid B tier. He's pretty fucking spicy and fun. He gives me Mojo Jojo vibes. Charles Muntz from Up.
Oh, okay.
That's
C tier. Yeah. I'd say he's serviceable.
It's kind of right there with Bellwether.
Yeah, like I kind of think that there might have been an interesting idea there. I kind of like how, it's the guy that Fred looked up to. And oh my gosh, he went crazy with his dogs. And he has dogs. But nothing particularly special. I'd say serviceable, yeah, C tier.
Yeah. Chernobog from Fantasia 1941, I believe. I should know this answer. I think Chernobog is very cool. I like that he's just straight up like a demon lord, Satan in a manner of speaking. But like, there's not much more to him just besides being downright like, I'm evil, like raising the dead. So
yeah, like who is he? Is it just because he's the devil, more or less? That's why he's a villain.
He's like more of a force of nature almost. I'd be real. I think D tier.
Well, that's just my personal feeling.
No,
I just don't
like
really
that.
care. Like, to me, that's not a character.
It's a plot device. So I feel like I put him in C tier because I think he's so maniacally evil. Like that gives him at least staying power, but that's about it.
It's like, okay, well, how does he fit into a narrative in this particular segment in Fantasia?
Right.
He doesn't really. It's kind of just loose ended. This is like even I'd say the T-Rex in the fucking Rite of Spring is more of a villain than this guy because he's against the Stegosaurus and you automatically feel empathetic for the Stegosaurus.
Right.
Who's this guy going up against? Just humanity? Who gives a shit? I personally say D tier because he's not like a character to me. Clayton?
Yes.
Kind of a lame villain, honestly.
I think he's C tier.
I'd say C. I wouldn't say he's awful. I wouldn't say he's forgettable. But he doesn't like exceed expectations.
The gorilla Tarzan. He's a little bit better. I think he's very high C, low B. Well, you know what? I think he is.
I'd say high C is pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's got a thick ass.
C plus. He got C plus.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. The Coach Master D tier. It's like you're just there for a bit.
Oh.
To move the plot around.
Yeah, nothing particularly memorable. This is the guy from Pinocchio, right?
Right.
Yeah, D tier.
What the hell? Constance Hatchaway? I have no idea who this is. This is from the Haunted Mansion. It's the Haunted Mansion. I don't.
Is it? Wait. Oh, that guy? Oh, was he the guy who's like, oh, Elizabeth, my wife, or?
Who cares? All right, Cruella de Vil. Right. I'd say Cruella is probably definitely
at least
B tier.
A tier.
You think A tier?
I'd say A tier. I think she is really fun to watch on screen. I think you enjoy seeing her on screen.
She's the best.
I think that she is a really good antagonist to like the story. I think it's pretty vicious that she wants to slaughter puppies to wear their skins.
I can see this.
I think that it's pretty evil that she like marvels in the suffering. Cruella? I'd say high B is totally fine too. I'd say Cruella and Yzma are pretty on like the same wavelength.
They go shopping together, no doubt. So the pig here,
He's from Dave the Barbarian, right?
Right, the Dark Lord Chuckles, the silly piggy. I'll be real. I watched Dave the Barbarian when I was like 2 in the morning. You know, I just didn't listen. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know.
I remember really liking Dave the Barbarian, but I can't say that this guy was a particularly great villain. I'd probably say D tier or IDK, I guess. Yeah, that's fair.
Davy Jones is...
That's pretty good.
Oh, dude, he's great. I'd say he is upper A tier for me.
I'd say lower A tier, but well, no, upper A tier is fine, honestly. I think he's a very good villain. I think he's even more interesting than Barbossa. So yeah, I can agree to that. He's a very complicated character. He's very threatening. I remember watching this as a kid and being terrified of this guy. Super scary.
I love that entire, like, do you fear death? And he has a little death where he says at the end of it.
Yeah.
Bootstrap. Yeah. No, and it visually, he's outstanding. Like, it's insane how this was made back in like the mid 2000s or whatever. And like to this day, it looks like it just came out from a very competent studio. Like Davy Jones, his face animation is like exceptionally witchcraft levels of good. I don't know Demona that well.
This is the girl from Gargoyles, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if she's a villain. I thought she was one of the team members. Maybe she's like an anti-hero.
Yeah, I think she started out pretty antagonistic, but she like kind of slowly becomes their friend, or maybe it was kind of like an anti-hero sort of thing. I believe that she's a very good character. As far as like being a good villain, I don't really know.
I'm laughing at the idea of like, what's your favorite Disney villain? It's the evil witch. It's Maleficent. It's the T-Rex from the Rite of Spring segment of Fantasia. Carnage.
Who's that guy from?
He's from Tailspin. He's pretty great.
I don't really remember jack shit about Tailspin. That was kind of that show that I'd only watch if there was like nothing else on, and I was like, okay, I guess.
You know, maybe upper C tier.
Rangers.
Right. Doofenshmirtz is it's either upper A or lower S.
I would say A. I don't know about S. Maybe if we revisit it, I could put him in S.
It's funny to see fucking Davy Jones, Brian Walters, and fuck you for using his face.
Doofenshmirtz.
No, for Davy Jones and Doofenshmirtz are about to get into some mischievous adventures. Look at those two. They're like ball or hat.
A hat?
It's from
what?
Robbins. It's the hat of the guy.
I don't give it. IDK. I don't give a shit about fucking hat.
The hat is D tier. Doris is not that big of a deal. I think she's kind of whatever.
Oh, the hat's name is Doris.
Yep. Kraken from Kim Possible. I thought he was fine. Like he's like B tier. I'd say he's like there.
I'd say that if I know we're gonna get to Shigo, and I'd say she's like the much better villain of the two.
Yes, she is.
I'd say B is fine. Maybe even high C for Draken.
I'd say I think maybe for me is fair. I think he's got some funny moments, but that's about it. Dr. Facilier.
I would say A tier, honestly, or at least a high B. I'd say a high B.
I would put him right there. Which I think he's a bit more, because of the writing of Prince of the Frog being a bit more competent than 101 Dalmatians. I just feel like it's better pacing.
I totally agree with that. Like a low A, a mid low A. I think that's great. I think he's a great villain.
Oh God, Keith David.
He's very interesting. I think he's got a fantastic villain song.
Yep.
Friends on the Other Side, fantastic. His whole scheme is pretty evil and pretty interesting. I'd say it's pretty unique to the story. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair.
All right, next we have Edgar. This is probably one of the worst Disney villains and gets an F tier drop. I'm just being real with you. He is one of the dumbest Disney villains of all time. So he gets the inheritance of these cats, okay? He gets to inherit the entire estate, but he has to take care of the cats. So first off, he's a cat murderer. That's a non-starter. But then also, he's so stupid that he's like, cats live 9 lives, and there's 4 of them, but that's longer than I've got left. And it's like, dude, first off, it doesn't work that way. Next, all you have to do is wait for the lady to die, then you kill the cats, and then it's over. So it's like all you had to do is literally wait like a week.
You know what? I can
Oh,
agree to that. He is pretty stupid.
no, he's dumb, and then he fails to kill cats. It's like literally rednecks do that daily. Like, how can you not? Oh, whatever. He's pretty terrible. All right, next we've got. I don't want to look. Everybody's in the chat saying it. I don't want to know. Chat, shut up.
I know.
I'm not looking.
No. No.
It's with a G.
No, it's not. It's not with a G. It's De La Cruz. That's what it is.
Yeah, De La Cruz. That's what I was gonna say.
I'd say at least a C tier. I think he's a serviceable villain.
I'd say he's a step above Bellwether, below Clayton.
C. I think that's fair. I don't think he's like hilariously. I don't think he's the most memorable villain. He is very generic, but I think I don't. And here's the thing: I don't think that Coco is that great of a movie. So
really,
I think Coco has some very like it hits some highs that I think are quite well. I think they're quite good. But overall, I was pretty underwhelmed by the movie.
Wow,
and I think for a movie
it.
that I personally, yeah, I know a lot of people loved it. Blah-de-da. I think it is good in moments. I kind of disagree with the overall message of the movie. Whatever. I think, yeah, and the whole like, oh, he's a twist villain. It's like so overplayed, but I kind of think it works for the movie.
Okay.
It's very dramatic. I think, yes, he's a little generic, and the whole, like, oh, another twist villain is a little, like, overplayed at this point. But I think it worked quite well for the story. Yeah, so I say C is pretty fair.
Evil Queen from Snow White. I say she's D tier. I think she's so just basic. Well, she gets the excuse of being, like, the first Disney villain, literally. But, like, she's just... I don't know. I just feel like she's not that much.
She's more fun when she becomes the witch.
That's true. I think I'm gonna hold high D for now. Next we got Fat Cat from Chippendale.
Big Cat from Chippendale. I don't really remember. Honestly.
I thought he was just kind of, whatever, kind of like there.
Yeah, maybe D tier. I just don't really remember.
Well, same thing with Glomgold, where I'm just kind of like, I remember watching it, I'm like, you're just the rival.
You're putting this guy above the Snow Queen, this guy that you don't even really remember. The evil queen from Snow White is memorable. That's my argument there, is that at least she's memorable. This guy I don't remember shit.
Okay, you know what?
What?
You're right. That's fair. That's fair. All right, Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh. I say S tier. I think that's an S tier villain.
Frollo is the most interesting part of that entire film. Like, Quasi's an interesting character. Esmeralda. I feel like Phoebus is whatever. But, like, God, Frollo commands that movie with an iron fist. And just, he's so real. And his song, oh my God. S tier,
The song, the attitude. I mean, he sets, like, the plot in motion in that movie. And it's pretty terrifying.
We got Captain Gantu from Lilo and Stitch.
He's kind of a buffoon.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, I'm the get you guy. That's it. He's in the series, but I'm not really going to count it. I think he's D tier.
I'd say maybe high D, because I do remember him, and I do remember him being like, yeah, it's hard to even say that he was a serviceable villain.
He's just, I'm the guy going after Stitch. That's it.
Yeah, C or D. So meh.
Gaston. A tier at least.
At least an A tier. I'm gonna hold out, and maybe after we revise this, we could change our opinions on that.
Upper A for me at the moment. Hades is S tier. I love Hades. I think Hades, and James Wood as an actor, putting that up aside, his performance as Hades was top notch. And I thought he was, from his animation to his voice acting to his anger to his screaming to the way he carried himself, his cadence. It's just like, dude, there's something about you that's just so unique. And I thought, like, Hades just is a fucking blast of a villain. I think he's great. Like, there's never a moment on the screen where I'm like, I'm bored with Hades. When Hades on the screen, I'm having a good time.
I could probably say the same about Gaston.
That's fair too. Though,
But I don't want to be too generous with the S tier.
Right. I actually
A isn't bad. A is not bad at all. That's
Oh,
like
no.
a solid, very good villain.
I feel like Gaston is very close to the S tier, but we'll see. Oh yeah, this guy from Lilo and Stitch. I don't know. I remember
Oh,
seeing.
lame.
I
Stupid.
was like, whatever. Hans. Hans, I'd say is
Hans, F
yeah.
tier.
He's
Lousy, lame villain. I don't give a shit what the stupid message in the movie was, but oh, you can't open your heart to strangers, or you're gonna get hurt. Don't be a fucking idiot. No, lousy villain, because
he loses
nothing
points, yeah.
insinuates him to be a villain until the very, very end. It's like, it's a twist. No, F.
Him and Edgar just hanging out in the F tier. The two idiot boys. What did you do? I tried to kill a princess.
What did you do?
I tried to kill cats. The Hatbox Ghost. I putting him in IDK because I really don't fucking know.
I really don't know.
The Headless Horseman from the Tales of Sleepy Hollow.
I don't know. I mean, I know the story, I suppose, but is that what he does? Is he screams and rides a horse?
Yeah, that's it. That's all he does. He screams. He's delightfully like, ah, ha, ha. He's great.
Is he fun to watch at least? Is he kind of fun when he's on screen?
Yeah, that's the pivotal moment of the entire story. That's where Ichabod gets attacked by the Headless Horseman.
I'd say that's worthy of at least a D then.
I'd say too. I think he's pretty fun on screen. That's it. Ghost again, kicking them to the side. Honest John and Gideon.
Honest John and Gideon.
From Pinocchio.
They're memorable, so maybe like a low C, maybe a high D.
I'd say
because they do play a role in the story, and they are memorable, and they are pretty conniving, but they're not like that straight up villainous. They're just kind of like con men, I suppose.
I like this scene where Honest John and the coach writer are comparing their Twitch money, where it's like, and he paid plenty, and he dropped like 7 coins. Hopper from Bug's Life.
Hopper's a pretty good villain.
Yeah, I thought he was all right.
I'd say like B plus, maybe low A.
Really? I'd say he's.
I'd say that he's more than a serviceable villain. I'd say that he's actually pretty antagonistic.
I'd say he's mid B. Look at the screenshot of these Horace and Jasper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do?
Yeah, me and Paleo arriving to a convention. But
Yeah.
all right, so yeah. Well, they try to kill puppies, so they're pretty fucking awful. They're entertaining at least, but like just barely.
I do remember, like, again, being a little kid and being a little intimidated by them because, again, the little puppies, were so weak against them. But as villains, they're pretty much just like kind of bumbling idiots who take advantage of an old woman and steal a bunch of dogs.
Yep.
So.
All right, the Horned King from the Black Cauldron.
Horned King is pretty fucking terrifying. I know he's not much of a character, but pretty fucking terrifying. I'd say that guy is more terrifying than the guy from fucking the Fantasia short. Yeah, I'd say low B is pretty fair. I wouldn't say he's, like, memorable enough to be an A tier or complicated enough to be A tier, but pretty fucking scary.
I don't know if it's just the hyenas or... Let me see. Yeah,
or just Shenzi. I'd say maybe all three of them.
It is. They're pretty... I think they're fun. They leave a They leave a good impression. I'd say
B tier. Maybe high B tier.
I'd say right there. Yeah. Jafar is upper A tier. I think he's actually more interesting than Gaston.
Yeah, A tier is fair. I think A tier is very fair.
I love Gaston. I think Gaston is one of my favorite villains of all time. But like I have to admit that I indulge in Gaston, but as far as trying to quantify it with this list, I think Jafar is more interesting.
Really? I think that Jafar is less interesting.
Really?
I think Gaston is more interesting because he has more stakes when it comes to like the story and the characters. Like, what is Jafar's relationship to Aladdin? It's kind of random, honestly, because Aladdin happened to be the chosen one, or whatever it was. There never ever was like a personal connection established between the two of them, versus Gaston, who obviously was in love with Belle and wanted to possess her. I think that is far stronger and as much as I love Jafar and think he's a very fun, fantastic villain, because he doesn't really have those personal ties to Aladdin, I think he's a little bit less interesting.
Number 1, number 2.
But Captain Silver from I'd say he's S tier. I'd say
yeah, I'd say A, because I guess I don't personally care as much, but I can agree to that to be an S tier. I think he's a very good character.
I love him. I think he's a great villain, and he commands the movie as well. Okay, this is Judge Doom from I almost said Judge Dredd. Judge Doom from
from
Roger Rabbit.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
He's pretty scary. That shit with him like dipping the boot in the acid was pretty fucking terrifying. I wouldn't say he's top tier, but certainly more than serviceable. So I think B is pretty fair.
Mid B. Ka from Jungle Book.
Ka is kind of a stupid villain.
Yeah.
I'd say C tier. He's not bad. He's pretty funny. He's certainly memorable.
I put him right there. Boop. So, King Candy. I love King Candy. I think he's a fantastic villain. I actually would say he's upper A.
I'd say A. I think he's a pretty good villain too.
I love him. He's delightfully great. I mean, I know he's a trick. He's a
twist villain.
I was a trick. He's a twist villain. But I thought he was.
But it makes sense. It makes sense for the narrative, and I think it works. Especially I think if we're doing twist villains, like if it works, then it's fine. Like, sure, it's a trope, but you know what? Sometimes cliches in tropes, like they are that way for a reason because it's good, and I think it can be done very well.
All right, Lady Tremaine from Cinderella.
She's a pretty good villain.
Yeah, she reminds me a bit of Yellow Diamond.
I'd say at least a B for sure. Maybe high B.
I think she is right there. Little Gideon. It's me, Little Gideon. He's got
Little Gideon's pretty fun. He's a little pathetic as a villain, but he does have his moments of being intimidating when he actually does hold power.
Yeah, he can.
Like when he has, it is quite intimidating.
I'd say he's up.
Definitely, like not more than Bill Cipher, but
no, he's pretty good though.
I'd say B is fair.
This dog, don't know. Just
dogs drinking water. IDK.
It's a liquidator. That's all I know. Lord Dominator.
I know you have some strong feelings, so I didn't really watch. This is from Over Yonder, or Wander Over Yonder, right?
Wander Over Yonder, the garden wall. Yes, she's from Wander.
I know you enjoy her big hips, so yeah, whatever your opinion is, I'll agree to it.
I put her right there. I think King Candy was a bit more fun, but she's got a lot of great energy. So yeah, Lord Dominator, pretty fucking great, and Lord Hater is also fucking great. Actually, I think I put him even above King Candy. Lotso. I almost said Laszlo. Lotso hugging
Laszlo.
I'd be like C tier.
At least a C tier.
Well,
not bad, but certainly nothing particularly special. His story is pretty tragic, and when you take into account like the themes of the story, but yeah, I'd say like looking at him next to De La Cruz seems pretty fair, honestly.
Okay, Madam Mim. Madam Mim.
Oh, is that from Sword in the Stone?
Yep, I think she's a lot of fun, and the entire wizard duel is fucking phenomenal.
C tier, pretty fun, but not super strong when we think of like, I don't know, how does she really, fare up with the other Disney villains who are so much more involved with the stories. Their movies.
Well, the Wizard Duel steals the show for and because Sword in the Stone's kind of boring, in my opinion. Madame Medusa, I thought she was kind of forgettable.
Oh, from
Rescue
the
Rangers?
Rescuers?
Or
Not the
Rescuers.
Rescue Rangers.
The Rescuers, you're right.
Yeah, I remember her being pretty intimidating, but not like a super strong character, nothing particularly special.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I'd say maybe upper D.
We have Magica de Spell, who I think is much more interesting in the continuation, the reboot for DuckTales.
This is DuckTales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have personally no strong opinion.
If it's the Magica from the reboot, I would say like right there. Okay, Maleficent. See, she's fucking phenomenal, but not okay. Let me start.
I would say A tier, because
Yeah.
I'm not like a fucking. I know a lot of people are Maleficent stans, and I think she's great. I'd say A tier. I don't know about S tier, honestly.
No, she's A tier. I think aesthetically and with her voice, like she's like a wonderful combination of like she has that like very evil, slow, gentle, but like kind of imposing voice to her. And again, she commands the screen as well.
I like that she's just sort of like, she's just so petty. She's
she
just
is.
like, I wasn't invited to the party.
Right.
Ah!
Well, I'm gonna
That's pretty
kill your
funny.
daughter now.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah,
we-
is that guy from South Park? I don't know.
I thought that was from South Park as well, but I did not realize that South Park based their little Moses thing on what this is called, the Master Control Program from Tron. I had never watched Tron. We have McLeach.
Nick Leach. I'd put him on the same rank as the first villain from the first Rescuers.
Yeah.
I love the Rescuers Down Under, but yeah, the villain's not really that unique or strong. I'd say mid B.
He was okay with killing a kid. He's like, I'll just feed the kid to
Yeah, well, I mean,
alligators or
so was
whatever.
the woman from the original Rescuers. She adopted a kid, or kidnapped rather. I don't remember how they really went about that process. She didn't give a shit if she died. She just wanted the diamonds. So
Right.
this guy, I know this guy was maybe a little bit more direct with it, but I'd say in terms of memorability, yeah, kind of on the same wavelength. But I do love Rescuers Down Under.
This guy is from Darkwing. I can't really recall his personality.
Yeah, I remember this design. I'm just gonna say low D because I don't really remember. Or IDK is fine, I suppose.
Mordew, the evil bear from Brave.
F. I'd say let's flesh out the F tiers a bit more. Just put him in F.
Think
It's fucking
so?
lame. Yeah, I think it's lame.
He's just bear.
What character is that? What kind of character is that?
You know what? You're right. I feel like we're holding our punches. Let's no more.
I feel like we're being too generous with the D tier. Honestly, I'm even looking at some of the stuff in the D tier and I'm already thinking, you know what, this deserves to be an F. So we'll come back to that.
Monstro.
Monstro,
He's got some personality.
pretty intimidating.
I'd say he's low C just for being so scary. I actually thought he was scary with him, like chasing after Pinocchio and Tom
He is pretty
Hanks.
scary, but I don't know. I'd say like very low D for sure. Because I mean, at least he is somewhat memorable, but when I compare that to like the bear character, I'd say it's almost like more or less the same. But I will say that I think it has like slightly more stakes when it comes to the story.
Yeah.
So I'd say D is pretty fair. It's pretty generous.
Mother Gothel.
I think she's a pretty good villain. Maybe not like the strongest, but I'd say at least a high C. I think she's a pretty good villain.
I'd say she's low B.
Low B is pretty good. Totally fine with that.
That's
Because
about
she's
it.
she's a very interesting type of villain that I don't think, at least at the time that this movie came out, was really seen that much. Her sort of like toxic manipulative behavior, I think was very interesting, and I think it worked very well for the story and for Rapunzel as a character. And I think she's
agree.
very believable, which I think it makes a very strong villain, is how believable they really can be. and how fun they are. And I think she's, maybe not the best, but I think she's pretty fun. And she's got that song. She's a little charismatic.
Mother knows best. Narissa, but I don't really know her that well, so I'm gonna drop her in who. She's
Yeah, I
from,
don't know. Is that from like a live action Disney show?
Enchanted, I think. Same thing with this guy. I just Darkwing Duck villains. I'm sorry, I just don't know. Oogie Boogie. What do you think about Oogie Boogie?
I'd say at least a C. He is pretty scary. And he does have a great song, right? He has a song at the end. But he doesn't really come into the story until like kind of the very end, right?
He's got a very bombastic, big personality. I fucking love that. I do like when he's like snake eyes when he smacks the fucking dice. At the same time,
Maybe a B, maybe a low B if we want to be a little bit more generous with that.
I wouldn't say even low B. I'd say more like mid B.
Okay.
Right there.
Anywhere in B, I think is pretty fair.
Right there.
Because he is quite memorable. I think he's more than serviceable.
What do you think about Pan Panic?
They're okay. They are pretty funny, but are they really that villainous? They don't really do that much. I guess they're kind of sneaky in what they do, and they're just kind of like vermin. But I'd say maybe C, honestly. I know we got a lot in C, and we're gonna revisit this at the end, I'm sure, and kind of like recategorize. But I'd say C.
Yeah.
'Cause I wouldn't say that they're bad or forgettable. They are pretty funny, but yeah.
This next one's kind of tough because Pete has been everywhere, so I don't know.
He is a pretty fun
where
villain.
to place him. He is fun, like a big, with his laughs. It's funny that they call him a villain when he's like just PJ's dad in Goofy Movie 2. I guess he's still a villain. I'd say he's in B tier. I put him.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty good character. I think of like Three Musketeers. He's like, he's kind of an idiot, but he is the main antagonist, and he's pretty fun. And even in a Goofy movie, he's pretty antagonistic. I mean, his poor fucking son is pretty scared of him. Plants the seed of doubt in Goofy's mind.
Who the fuck's the Phantom Bolt?
I don't know who that is.
I have no idea. And I know most Disney stuff, and I've never heard of the Phantom Bolt. Prince John from Robin Hood. I
know you have some strong feelings about this character.
I fucking adore Prince John. I think he's one of the funniest villains. And his personality, the way he bickers and throws little tantrums, I think Prince John's S tier. Potentially.
Yes, tier.
Yeah, I that's my hot take. I think Prince John is S tier.
That's really funny.
All right. The Queen of Hearts.
She's pretty fun, but I'd probably put her, like, if I'm being generous, B tier.
Yeah, like right there.
I'd put her like right next to Captain Hook.
Sorry, I think it's funny how Oogie Boogie, Pete, and the Queen of Hearts all have the kind of same body shape and kind of are facing the same direction. They're like Facebook parent profiles. All right, the Queen of Hearts from Tim Burton's.
I don't know, F tier. Fuck that.
Yeah, F tier. Who gives a shit? Next we have Randall from Monsters University.
Oh, I mean, Randall's pretty fun.
You hear that? It's the winds of change.
I think Randall is like C tier. I think he's kind of there with like Lotso.
Yeah, I think he's.
I mean, they do like add more layers to him after Monsters University, which I really do like. I feel really bad for him.
I don't.
But his like change into villainhood is kind of stupid and lame.
I think stupid.
So
I think he's pretty basic. Governor Ratcliffe.
Radcliffe is pretty stupid. I mean, he's pretty fun, but yeah, pretty stupid.
He's B tier. He's fitting with his broad frame and the rest of these characters.
You say B tier? I think that's generous.
I stand by it. I think he's pretty interesting, but that's about it. I think mid B.
What about him do you find interesting?
I like that he's loud. I think he's got a really interesting shape to him, like his voice actor. But as a character, I see him as like.
Yeah, you're just describing like secondary traits.
Well,
his voice, his design.
He's purple. No, but
he's loud.
He's loud. Now, I do like that he gets in people's faces. He's pompous. He's the embodiment of colonialism, which is interesting to see that in the setting and how he just kind of like is obsessed with gold. And some of his mannerisms and how pompous he is. I think he's mid B. Radigan.
Radigan is a great villain. I'd say that's at least a high A.
I'd say.
I think he's very threatening.
I think you're winning me with Gaston, by the way. You won me over.
Yeah.
Gaston, Jafar, Radigan. Yeah. Okay. Cool. This guy, the captain from Atlantis.
He's an asshole for sure.
He's like right there. Above Chernabog, just a bit. That's it.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair. I wouldn't say he's...
You know what? I think
I don't know. I might even say that he's in D tier.
He's falling down the list so far, so...
Yeah, like when I'm looking at the villains from like the Rescuers, I'd say that this guy kind of falls in line with them, so I'm gonna say D.
Yep, I agree. The girls from Hocus Pocus.
Well, remember how in the sequel, oh my god, spoiler alert, you guys.
Sequel never happened.
They kind of try to like make them empathetic, and it's like, oh no, we're so sad.
We have no parents.
I don't know, it's hard to really call them. I mean, they're fun characters. I think they're very fun characters. It's pretty stupid though. I wouldn't say F because they're not like god awful. At least they're entertaining when they're on screen. I'd say C is pretty fair.
Yeah,
kind of just mid-tier characters.
Scar.
Scar is definitely at least A. Maybe S tier just because he's so goddamn memorable.
I think he is S tier, and he's right below Frodo.
Yeah. Absolutely, I can agree with that.
Yep. He kills it.
Why do you have fucking Prince John up there? It's just he doesn't belong up there.
Him alone. All right,
one of these is not like the others.
Prince John Scar are dating. All right, leave him alone. This forgettable villain from fucking Incredibles 2. Lame. Boring.
F tier.
Yeah, I thought she was kind of. I know she's got character. But that twist was so fucking, like, unappealing to me. I'm like, really? You're doing a twist in Incredibles 2? I'm so tired of this trope. F.
People remember this character for the wrong reasons.
Yes, they do.
That's his name, right? Sean Yu?
Look it up. Yep, Sean Yu. You're right. Sean Yu. I thought he is.
Not really. I mean, he has a very intimidating design. He's got, like, the hawk eyes.
Yellow
He's
eyes.
really big and lumbering, and he's, like, the leader of this army. Pretty intimidating.
I thought that's it.
Not a great character though. He does have a body count.
I put him in like mid to low C tier.
Yeah, he's serviceable.
I'm moving some of these characters from DuckTales away because I don't know them well enough. Shigo though, damn that picture.
Shigo is a pretty great villain.
Shigo's fantastic.
She's a great antagonist to Kim Possible. I might even say S tier. I think Shigo is pretty fucking great.
You think she's S tier? Holy shit.
At least an A tier, but I think she's so fun and so memorable, and I think she's such a strong antagonist.
Damn. Let me think on that. That's I can see the argument.
And she's at least on like the same level as Doofenshmirtz, I'd say.
Yeah, at least. At least. Shere Khan, who's
Shere Khan is a very good villain.
I think he's fun. I love it the way. I mean, I love his design. I love his chin. I'd say he's B tier.
Like more than Captain Hook.
Think so.
Yeah,
I say he's.
I would be more scared of a fucking tiger that could talk and rip me apart than fucking Captain Hook.
But Captain Hook's got Smee. All right.
I'd say that Shere Khan is at least a very memorable villain, and he is quite intimidating.
The mayor of Nottingham. Now, Friar.
Who's that? The wolf?
Yeah.
He's the mayor?
Or the sheriff. I'm sorry, the mayor.
Oh, I was gonna say what?
I don't think they have democracy. Right.
I don't find anything about him particularly memorable.
Yeah, he's okay.
He was, maybe a low C, high D. I don't find anything particularly memorable.
I'd say he's like right above Randall, in my opinion. Okay, these fucks.
The cats, they're pretty funny.
I hated them.
Well, I guess are we gonna take into account how these are like extremely gross stereotypes.
Oh God, yes.
Okay, I guess if we're gonna do that, then just put him in F tier.
Yeah, let's put on F tier. All right, Sid from Toy Story.
Sid is not that bad as a villain. I mean, to the toys, yes, he's pretty threatening, but he's just sort of like a misguided bad kid who he gets it pretty harsh.
Dude, he gets
like he didn't know that the toys were alive. He didn't know that they were alive, and he got pretty fucking harshly punished for it. Fine, I suppose. I said the dog was more threatening than Sid.
Oh yeah, that dog like ran off its leash. I'll put it right there. Chef Skinner from Ratatouille.
He's a pretty bad villain. I love Ratatouille, but he's a pretty lousy villain.
I thought he's pretty
Kinda
funny.
stupid. He is funny, but as a villain, he's kind of doofy.
he's a very much of an idiot. I feel like I put him in low B.
Low B?
I think he's B worthy. I think he's pretty entertaining. All right, speaking of genuine idiots here, the aunts from James and the Giant Peach.
Yo, those ants are assholes.
They're F tier.
Put them in F tier.
Yeah, I think they are awful. Okay, Stinky Pete.
Oh, Stinky Pete? That's a pretty good villain.
Okay, isn't Stinky Pete the guy from Breaking Bad?
What? No.
That's Skinny Pete.
Skinny Pete and Stinky Pete.
Skinny Pete hanging out with Stinky Pete.
I'd say he's at least a B, maybe a low B. I think he's a pretty good villain. I feel kind of bad for him, honestly. I think he's kind of an interesting villain because his story is very interesting.
Right.
I think his plight is very interesting and very believable. And he gets his comeuppance in the end.
He absolutely does.
I think he's a better villain than Zurg. So,
oh God,
yes.
Stromboli.
That's from Pinocchio, right?
Yes. All right. Stromboli.
I'm gonna give him F tier. Pretty bad.
I'm gonna give him D tier. Low D tier. He's very memorable, but that's about it. With his, you'll be sensational, and like him doing.
I don't know. Maybe you only think he's memorable because you have the movie fresh in your mind.
We have this guy, Sykes, Skylar.
Oh yes, Sykes.
Skylar White
from Oliver and Company. No, not Skylar White.
Walter White's wife. Yo. Sykes is pretty awful. He's a little bit too real, but he's also like not that.
He's pretty intimidating, but also, yeah, like you said, not very interesting.
He's like,
he's
I'm
pretty
the
scary.
bad guy, and I'm gonna burn this cigarette on your forehead. It's like, oh, okay. I don't like his Doberman. His Dobermans were mean. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'd say he's pretty mid tier.
Syndrome is pretty fucking great.
Ooh, Syndrome is a very good villain.
I think he's upper A or low S.
I was gonna say I might just be generous and put him right in the S. I mean, he is Syndrome. He should be an S.
I think he's right there.
I think everything about his role in the narrative adds up in a very clever way.
Yeah.
I think he's a really fun, interesting villain. I think his motives are great.
He's got personality, but he also has like that mean streak where he's like, I'll do what I have to. Tamatoa.
Tamatoa.
I thought he was fucking delightful. And the thing is, I feel like his character is only enhanced because of how much of a dry spell there's been for just Disney villains who give me 1990 vibes. So
I think he's a good villain. I think he's fun, but like, what does he have to do with the movie? Really, kind of nothing. So
I think he's B tier.
I say B is pretty fair. I honestly don't think I'd be thinking of this character much at all if it wasn't for a particular YouTuber that I follow. So
all right, Ursula.
That's got to be an S tier.
Ursula's fucking fantastic.
Extremely memorable. A very good villain. I think she like fires off on all cylinders in terms of like villainy.
I agree. I think she has motive. She's got a lot of charisma. She got sass. She's got just pizzazz as far as her magic goes. She's sneaky. She's wonderful fucking song, and I really like that she was, I believe, modeled after a drag queen. So like, there's a lot of
she was.
just fucking all around. Ursula's a great villain, great character. Okay, so water news.
I'd say Water Noose is a pretty good villain. I think he's threatening. I think he's pretty fucking scary, honestly.
He's scary,
Fucking
but like
crab spider monster who I think he's kind of, yeah, I could see him kind of being like next to Charles Muntz. But I'd say he's more intimidating than like a frail old man who should have died. He's pretty scary. He holds a lot of power.
You know what? Maybe you're right. I'd say he is right there. I'd say maybe above Hopper. A weasel.
A weasel.
It's
Oh,
from Who Framed Roger
is that
Rabbit.
from
Whatever, dude. It's a filler character as far as I'm
yeah.
concerned. Ansem or Xehanort. It's Kingdom Hearts.
Xehanort.
Xehanort. Xehanort.
I don't really remember enough about Kingdom Hearts to have a strong opinion on Xehanort. I don't really remember what it is that he does, what role he plays in the story. I think he's pretty bad. He's worse than Ansem, right?
I don't
Who
know.
here knows Kingdom Hearts?
I do not know.
I just put him in IDK because I don't really remember what he does.
Dude, why is this yokai guy look like he's doing like a meme pose where he's like, he's all thinking on his chin. That's a villain from Big Hero 6, and I thought that was another predictable like twist villain.
I think that's an F tier villain for sure. Fucking lame.
Boring. We did it. That's the list. So let's at least work our way up. So I think we can agree with like all the people who are in the Who category. Just whatever. Don't know you well enough. We got Incredibles 2 lady, Xehanort. Xehanort is a bear.
That isn't Xehanort. That's the fucking guy from Big Hero 6.
Big Hero 6 guy. The bear from Brave. A cloud. The aunts from
James and the Giant Peach.
I'm putting this stupid rhino a bit further. Yeah, those even further than that. Then you got the queen from the live action Tim Burton movie. You got the rhino from the Peach and the Cobbler. We got
Not the Peach and the Cobbler. What are you talking about? You're just thinking about Peach Cobbler. You think you're just fucking stoned and
I'm
thinking
hungry.
about Cobbler.
Yes. Hans from Frozen.
Yeah.
The cats
Peach and the Cobbler.
from Peach and the Cobbler. And then the worst villain in Disney history, Edgar, from goddamn the Aristocats. He was the dumbest human being who ever lived. D tier, we got Zurg, we got Stromboli, we got the guys from Song of the South, we got the Big Bad Wolf, we got the Beagle Boys, we got Rescue Rangers lady, we got Meme Face, we got the bowler hat, Doris, we got Gantu, we got Australian guy, we've got Monstro, we've got the Colonel, we've got I Am Weasel, we got Meme Paleo. I don't know.
I don't think anybody knows.
It's all right.
It's okay. I don't think it's such a big deal.
Okay.
We'll figure it out another time.
Headless Horseman. We got Chernobog from Fantasia. I feel like she actually gets bumped up a bit as the actual like witch. So I'm gonna bump her up a bit. Maybe
The evil queen from Snow White.
Yeah, I might give her a mid-C.
I agree. That's what I was saying. I was gonna say like maybe she's not that like fantastic a character, but she's pretty damn memorable.
You're right. I guess I feel like we've got a pretty. I feel like I stand by this. I feel like this is a pretty solid list. For Bill Cipher, though, that's who's currently sitting at number 1, and I'm kind of curious if I actually feel that way because he's pretty fucking phenomenal. But I think Furlough might get number 1 for me, to be perfectly honest. There's something so striking about his character and so unique that I feel like Disney will never tread that path again. All right, I think that's the list. Any dissenting opinions? No?
Well,
agree?
other than the
Right?
obvious one. Other than the obvious one.
What's the
no.
obvious one?
You know exactly which is the obvious one.
Wait, Prince John?
The one in S tier that looks like he really doesn't